Hey there, welcome to another episode of NIU Weekly. Terry Bonadonna with you as always to help break down everything that's going on in the world of Husky sports. Another good week to be an NIU Husky supporter. A lot going on. I'm going to give you a full breakdown of what's happening in the world of the fall sports in a little bit. Of course, we've got a lot to talk about in regards to the football team. Tough loss to San Diego State this past week, but it was a thriller. Came down to the very last second of the game. So we'll break that down with the head coach, Thomas Hammock, in a little bit. And we will very excitedly get ready for the next one as well, because this coming Saturday is homecoming, the 118th homecoming at NIU. That's this Saturday, October 4th. And the team in town is the Red Hawks of Miami University. It's a 2:30 start time this Saturday at Huskie Stadium. It is not just homecoming, it's also the conference opener, and it's the battle for the Mallory Cup. So a lot to get up for that game. Again, 2:30 this Saturday. For tickets, you can go to niuhuskies.com/tickets. That's niuhuskies.com/tickets, or give a phone call to 815-753-PACK. That's 815-753-7225. Come on out to this Saturday's football game. Should be a lot of fun. We're going to get to Coach Hammock in a little bit. We're also going to get to Ryan Copeland, the head baseball coach at NIU. Excited to talk to him about what's going on right now in the fall season for baseball as they prep for the start of this upcoming season in February. But before we get to our coaches' interviews today, just a few more notes I want to pass on to you. First of all, Huskies Invest, which is NIU Athletics' annual week of giving, is less than a month away now. Huskies Invest will take place between October 20th and 24th. The goal this year is to exceed $1 million in giving during Huskies Invest for the fifth consecutive year. During Huskies Invest, gifts can be made to any individual sport program, NIU recreation, or to other specific areas and projects. And for more information, you can call the Husky Athletic Fund at 815-753-1923. One more note before we welcome Thomas Hammock, and that is that we're going to talk about the spring season a little bit later with baseball. Winter season is right around the corner. Basketball tickets are on sale now. Season ticket packages start at just $80 for Husky men's basketball, just $35 for NIU women's basketball. To purchase tickets or for more information, go to niuhuskies.com/tickets, or again, you can call 815-753-7225. Okay, a lot of good information there, but we've got more good information coming up with our interviews. So let's welcome our first guest of the day. Our first guest this week on NIU Weekly is the head coach of the football team, Thomas Hammock. Coach, pleasure as always to talk with you. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me on.
We have had a few days now to look back on the game against San Diego State over the weekend. Now, looking at the overall performance of the team, what are your main takeaways after a few days of looking it over?
Great defensive effort. I thought our special teams were really solid. Obviously, we know we have to play better on offense. And I think, those are things that, we've been working on this week already. But proud of the effort, proud of the fight, not the result we wanted, but certainly a lot of positives with the way we played for 4 quarters.
You come into conference play with a 1-3 record, but obviously we knew coming into the start of the season that it was going to be a difficult non-conference slate. And all 3 of those losses are games that you had a chance to win in the second half. You were in it with Mississippi State. You were in it with Maryland up until the very end. And San Diego State, obviously, was a game that could have gone either way. So after looking back over the last 4 weeks, how do you feel about your team's performance in the non-conference season?
No, I think, we learned a lot about ourselves, learned that, we have what it takes, but we have to play cleaner. We have to execute better. We have to win the moments, when it matters most. And I think that's going to help us. We're obviously battle tested. We played some quality opponents the past 3 weeks. And I think that's going to serve us well as we continue to move forward with our conference schedule. Our kids should be excited. And hopefully we can continue to get better as the season goes along.
We've talked all year about how young this team is, putting them into the types of challenges that you've put them into at Maryland, at Mississippi State. Coming into the start of MAC play, how far have you seen the development of the team as a whole?
No, I've seen a lot of growth. And the thing I'm most encouraged about was I don't see guys, hanging their heads. I don't see guys discouraged. I see guys looking at it as if, we're right there. Obviously we got to continue to work hard at practice. We got to continue to put ourselves in position to make plays and then go out there and do it on Saturday.
Let's talk about the game against San Diego State and some of the performers who really stepped up. We've spent a lot of time discussing the linebacker play, so I don't want to dwell on that too much, but Quinn Erweiler is up among the nation's leaders in tackles. As far as the passing game went for San Diego State, you were able to hold them to 110 yards for their starter, Jaden Denegal. The secondary is a group that we haven't talked as much about. You got interceptions from both Mohamed Jameh and Jasper Beeler in that game. How have they been able to accomplish what they have?
No, I think our secondary is playing at a high level and will only get better. I think Coach Bland and Coach Ross is doing a nice job, with our secondary, making sure those guys are playing, coverage, playing through different things. We've had a couple different pass interference calls the last 2 weeks that were, in my opinion, ticky-tack, but our guys, play the next play mentality, doing a nice job downing the ball when the pass is completed, not giving up yards after catch. And I think those plays matter. And for us to have 2 interceptions last week, we talk about creating turnovers and creating field position for our offense. They were able to do that. And I think, we can continue to do those things. We put our team in a position to, have greater success.
And I ask you about the secondary, but it really feels like the defense is starting to come together in a way in which the different position groups are able to feed into each other, whether it's the defensive line creating pressure or the secondary creating good coverage, which allows the linemen extra time to get to the quarterback, or the linemen, gobbling up offensive linemen so that the linebackers have a chance to make a tackle. What have you seen from these different position groups and their ability to feed off of each other?
Yeah, I think first of all, I think our defensive staff is doing a phenomenal job with the game plan. Coach Harley is very creative in his game plans. I think our kids are prepared. They understand what the opponent is trying to do, from formations to alignments to situational football. They always have an answer. If something hits us, we have a counter. And then our kids are playing fast. They playing fast. They playing together. They playing on one accord. And I think that's a testament to the coaches. I think that's a testament to the players. They bought in. We got a lot of new players playing for the first time, working together for the first time. And it's been awesome to see. And I think they will continue to get better as the season progresses.
Offensively, of course, you'd like to start putting up bigger numbers than you've seen so far. But as you look back over the game against San Diego State, what specifics do you see that you think you have a good opportunity to clean up heading into next week?
Well, I think, obviously San Diego State is a, top 10 defense in the country. They held Cal to no points. So we knew it was going to be a tremendous challenge. I think there's opportunities for us to throw the ball better, to catch the ball better. We had some opportunities to, pitch and catch. We had some opportunities to make explosives in the run game. If, one guy makes a block, we had some opportunities to stay normal down the distance. We had a couple, pre-snap penalties that put us behind the sticks. We had a holding call on the explosive run. So there were some things that we did that got us off schedule that we can clean up, some self-inflicted wounds. And so the more we can clean those things up, the more efficient that we can be. And then also from a special team standpoint, there were some punts that hit the ground that got some roll. We lost 45 yards of field position in the punt return game. So all those things add up from a complementary standpoint of being able to play complementary football. So there's a lot of things that we can clean up all the way around, and we're working diligently on that this week.
Well, let's start talking about this week's game. You got Miami coming to town. It's the start of conference play. It's also homecoming, and you're not just the coach at Northern Illinois. You are an alum of Northern Illinois University. So what does homecoming mean to you?
Homecoming is obviously a great event. A lot of alumni come back, and there's a lot of pride in NIU, the football program, and you want to go out there and play your best football. And we obviously know we have a quality opponent that's coming in here, Miami, Ohio, playing for the Mallory Cup. Obviously, that's very significant. And, we want to go out there and play our best football. And for us to do that, we have to make sure we, clean up a lot of things that we didn't do right last week. And our players are doing that this week.
Conference play brings with it a lot of different challenges, one of them being that you're playing opponents who you're more familiar with and they're more familiar with you as well. You played Miami last year. It's a different team for you. It's a different team for them heading into this year. But your early thoughts on what you've seen from Miami to start this season, what do you think this week's game is going to look like?
Well, I think, very similar to us. They play a tough schedule. They play Wisconsin. They play Rutgers. They play UNLV, some tough opponents, very similar record. They played Lindenwood last week and was able to build some momentum. So, always well coached. Coach Martin does a great job building his team up, and they get better as the season goes along. And we're trying to do the same thing. When you have as much roster turnover as we've had, you're trying to, build your team up and get them better each and every single week. And I feel really good about, we're heading in the right direction.
Well, Coach, I know I'm excited about the start of conference play. I'm excited about the homecoming game this week and a chance to bring that Mallory Cup to DeKalb. So thanks so much for your time. Good luck on Saturday, and we're all looking forward to the game.
Thank you, and go Huskies.
I'd like to welcome our next guest on NIU Weekly. It's the third-year baseball coach for Northern, Ryan Copeland. Thank you so much for taking some time to join me today.
My pleasure.
So we are a few months removed from the spring season of 2025. You got 21 wins for the second consecutive year. Huge offensive numbers up and down the roster. Reflecting on year number 2 for you with NIU, what are your big takeaways right now?
I think we're headed the right direction. We've done a lot of good through 2 years. We're still got a long way to go, though. There's no doubt about that. Really pleased with the offense. We made a huge jump from year 1 to year 2, and Coach Kelch does a remarkable job with our guys. And I believe we finished in the top 30 in scoring. We broke a whole bunch of records, and the fans that follow us are pretty well aware of that. And we actually did pitch better than we did in 2024. We didn't pitch well enough, though. And we have access to quite a few analytics and some stuff like that. And we ended up losing 5 games where we had a 90% win probability in the 8th inning or later. And you win those games like you're supposed to, like good programs do. Teams that pitch a little bit, especially in the back end of a bullpen. And we probably have a little bit different feeling about our season. So all in all, I think we're on the right direction. But I would say a little frustrated by the lack of ability to close out some games. And we got to shore that up. We got to keep getting better on the mound. And I know Coach Peacock and our pitching staff is pretty eager to get out there this year.
Coming into this season, the players had a lot of time to reflect over the course of the summer. You've got a lot of talent coming back from last year. What have you seen from the returning players as far as their attitude heading into this school year?
Yeah, in an era where it's tough to have returning players at all, especially at this level, as a low mid major, we do return some guys that have had a lot of success here at Northern Illinois. They've had success at their previous institution, whether that be a 4-year school or a junior college. And we have enough pieces here of guys that understand what we're trying to do. I do believe in our culture. I believe in our environment to help some of those new guys along. And we do have 21 new players on this year's roster. And that's going to be much of the norm. Now with the way the transfer portal works and the one-time transfer rule for unlimited years. So every year you're trying to instill, the things that you believe in. But certainly it's nice to have some older players, some veteran players that have been there, done that with us, that can help echo that message to our younger guys or our newcomers from the portal or the junior college ranks.
Yeah, and when you talk about veteran leadership, you're bringing in a lot of new veterans this year too. So there are a lot of new players on the roster, but as you say, in the current era of college athletics, when you bring in a lot of new players, they're not always 18, 19-year-olds. Sometimes you're bringing in a group of players who are, 21, 22, have several years of college experience, and you're bringing in some guys from lower levels, D2, junior college players who were all Americans or all conference at their previous stops. Have you seen? I know we're very early in the fall practice schedule right now, but have you seen, just dealing with some of these guys personally, the opportunity for leadership among the new players as well?
Yeah, of course. And I think not all transfers are created equal. For example, we brought in Ivan Dahlberg from Illinois Springfield, my last school, and I recruited him when I was down there. I only got to coach him for 1 year, and he's a two-time All-American at UIS, had outstanding numbers. He is as good as it gets behind the plate. He's tough. He's competitive. He really knows how to handle a pitching staff, and we certainly needed that losing Logan Gregorio to Auburn, an SEC school. So, it's one thing to have a bunch of new players in our program, but when you can kind of hit on some guys like that, some guys that you know from a previous institution, get a little lucky throughout the recruiting process, and he's going to be really good for us. Caden Robertson, Central Oklahoma kid, he's another one. He's a fifth-year kid. Was a D2 National Player of the Year runner-up last year, was the South Central Region Player of the Year. So yeah, we got some guys that have had success, and if there's one thing I've learned in my 11 years of college baseball, it's that close teams win and old teams win. And I don't buy the excuse of coaches saying that they're young, especially nowadays, because that's well within our control to make sure that we have a veteran, older roster to compete with the best schools in the conference.
You mentioned Logan Gregorio, and that's something that I wanted to ask you about as well. I don't know if that's something you can use as a recruiting tool. It's a constantly changing landscape, but when you see players from your team, obviously you want to bring them back next year, but when you see them move on to an SEC team, or somebody who is a big time program with a lot of success in their past, is that something that you're able to hold up as a source of pride for your program?
I think we probably have to, right? It's not something we want to do. We'd love just to keep our good players, and Coach Kelch and Coach Peacock, they bust their tails in recruiting, and it can be a little helpless sometimes when you feel like you land a really good player, and midway through last year we knew we were probably going to lose a guy like Logan to the SEC, even a guy like Adam Brower, who was our Friday guy each of the last 2 years. Another one I brought with me when I got the job here back in the summer of 2023. We had a pretty good feeling that he was going to go move on. He's playing in the Big 12 now, so that's just the reality of where we're at. So I think we'd be stupid not to try to use that as a badge of honor to help bring in the next crop of talented student athletes to our program. And we've even gone into the junior college ranks while they're freshmen. And essentially, the reality is we're all junior colleges now, whether it be in the MAC, the Missouri Valley, the SEC, ACC, all the way down to some of the lower levels of college baseball. So I think that's just part of the adaptability we all have to have as college coaches right now. And if you don't adapt, you're going to fall behind.
I don't want to spend all this time talking about transfer rules and recruiting. Let's talk about some of the guys you've got coming back, because this is a very talented team as well that you've got returning this year. Gavin Baldwin. We'll focus on the offense for starters. Gavin Baldwin, All MAC performer last year. Charlie Parcell led the team in on base percentage. There are some good players returning to the team this year. What gets you excited?
Yeah, I think just seeing the growth from a guy like Charlie Purcell, we inherited as a freshman. We actually, when I was at UIS, we lost out on him to Northern Illinois, and he's become a really good player. He's really kind of honed in his leadership skills, and just to see his development, his progress over the last couple of years. He's put on a bunch of good weight. He's gotten a lot stronger. He's really learned how to have good at bats, to swing at pitches inside the zone. He's really cut down on his strikeouts, his chase rate. So it's been cool to see a guy like that come in as a skinny freshman, have some success. We kind of threw him into the fire as a freshman, knowing that he was a part of our long-term plan, and he stuck it out with us, and he's going to have a good year. Will Couchman's another one. We got him from NIAC last year. You never really know exactly what you're going to get from the junior college kids. We know they're talented. We know they had success where they are at. It's a whole different level here. So he had a really, really good year. I think the coolest thing about Will was that he wasn't afraid of the moment. He had two walk-off home runs for us, and when the moment was the biggest, he wanted to be in the batter's box. And Gavin Baldwin, we get him back due to the Pavia ruling, so we can thank Diego Pavia at Vanderbilt for that one. And he had a monster year last year. And I think with Gavin, there's still so much for him to get better at. He struck out a little too much, and we've worked a lot on that. When he stays inside the zone, it's very hard to get out. There's not a fastball he's afraid to hit. As long as we can again keep him in the strike zone, that's kind of the name of the game nowadays. And we're really excited about those guys returning, and we have a plethora of talented position players that are joining those guys. So we have the ability to go out there and hit with anybody. I want to see us be a little more complete as an offense. Find a way to take our hits a little bit more. But certainly that dangerous offense, the one that broke all those records, home runs, RBIs, walks, you'll see much of the same this year, if not better.
You also mentioned a little bit earlier that you thought the pitching took a good step forward last year. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot of time spent over the next few months working out who's going to be filling what role in terms of who are going to be your starting pitchers. What does the back end of the bullpen look like? But you've got some good returning pitchers as well. What have you seen so far from them?
Yeah, the fall is always a little tough. We're inter squatting as much as we possibly can, and guys are typically going between 1 and 2 innings, so you don't get to extend guys a whole lot. But we do return Carter Cox. He had a phenomenal freshman year, jumped into the rotation there towards the middle to back half of the year. Did a great job for us. A really tough, competitive kid, and we're really excited about him and hopefully taking over that Friday night role for us. Danny Sahaki is another guy who pitched very valuable innings for us out of our bullpen, and we hope he can make that jump into the rotation. And we have a whole lot of competition, besides that. We have a lot of guys that have a lot to prove, whether they're returners or guys that are new to the program. And we know the importance of our pitching staff and how valuable a competent pitching staff can be. So it's a ton of our focus. We spend a lot of time with it. We actually structure our practices, our individual settings, just so I can be around as much as I can, with my pitching background to help Coach Peacock out. So we have a lot to prove, though. We haven't done it on the mound yet, and we got to keep getting better, but I'm excited to see these guys compete the rest of the fall.
I know fall season is always a little bit difficult from the standpoint of guys are ready to compete and you're out there evaluating people, but they're chomping at the bit. There's still a few months before they're able to get out there competitive when the schedule begins in February. But what do you like to get out of the fall season? What do you need to see from these guys to know that you're on the right track?
Think putting them in positions that they might be in come January, February when we start up our season down in North Carolina, making them uncomfortable, getting them prepared as best as we can. And I think it's unfair to get on guys, come season time if we haven't tried to put them in that position and allow them to fail and grow and develop through some things during the fall. So, yeah, we want to challenge our guys. We want our environment at practice, in the bullpen, in the dugout to be extremely competitive. And we want our guys to feel comfortable being uncomfortable. And it's the only way we're going to make the strides we need to. So we do everything we can in a practice setting, in the weight room, from a conditioning standpoint, even down to academics, community service, to try to get our guys to compete and understand the importance of competing within each other. And I think if we can take care of that, when you go line up against another team, it gets pretty easy to compete against those guys.
Before letting you go, I want to make sure I give you the chance to get anything off your chest that you need to. What's going on with the baseball program that we need to know about, and what are you excited about?
Yeah, again, 21 new players. I'm really excited about what we're doing here. And as frustrating as last year could have been, I think it's frustrating for the right reasons because we are bringing very talented players. I think we work as hard as anybody does in the country with just three of us. A lot of staffs we go up against. There's 5, 6, 7 guys on staff. It's just myself, Coach Peacock, and Coach Kelch, and there's no one else I'd rather have in my corner than those guys. We just had a great golf outing on Friday. Had almost 100 golfers out there at Chalet Hills and Cary. Raised a whole bunch of money for our program, and stay tuned for more information on our winter banquet, kind of the kickoff to the season. But we're on the right right track. Again, frustrated that we didn't win a few more games last year because I do believe the pieces are in place. And once we get over that hump here with our pitching staff, develop some depth, especially on the back end, I think we have a chance to make some noise, not just this year, but moving forward as long as we're here at Northern Illinois.
Coach Ryan Copeland, NIU baseball program, year number 3 coming up. Thank you so much for your time. I know we're all looking forward to the start of the season, but best of luck with all of the fall preparations.
Thanks, Terry. I appreciate it.
Well, it was good to get an update from Ryan Copeland on everything that's going on in the world of NIU baseball. Thank you, as always, as well to Thomas Hammock, football coach, for joining me as he does most weeks here on NIU Weekly. Almost time to close up the show, but before I do, I want to make sure you get a full update on what else is going on in the world of fall sports here at NIU, including a full schedule for this upcoming week. Let's start on Thursday night because that's when the volleyball team takes to the floor again. What a sensational start to the year for volleyball. They had a great 7-2 non-conference record, and they began MAC play last week with a sweep of the Michigan teams. They took out both Central and Eastern Michigan at home. Now they head on the road for the first time in the conference season. They are at Ball State on Thursday evening, and then on Friday, they head out to Miami. That is a Friday evening contest for them. Also in action this weekend, women's soccer. Thursday night at Central Michigan, and then Sunday back home, they'll take on Buffalo. Men's soccer is playing as well. That's on Saturday evening. They are at home against Bradley. As you know, the football game against Miami is coming up on Saturday afternoon, 2:30. That's the homecoming game, and then the homecoming festivities continue on Saturday night with Bradley as the men's soccer team continues Missouri Valley play. Both tennis teams are in action this weekend. Men's tennis is at the Redbird Invitational in Bloomington, Illinois, Friday through Sunday. Women's tennis has 2 events this weekend. They're at Kalamazoo, in Kalamazoo, Michigan, for the MAC Individual Championships, as well as the Hoosier Invitational in Bloomington, Indiana. Both of those are Friday to Sunday. And then finally, women's golf has had some action this week in Iowa City. So everybody is going strong at NIU this week. We're going strong, and we know that you are as well. Hopefully we'll see you out at Huskie Stadium on Saturday afternoon for the big homecoming football game, battle for the Mallory Cup against the Red Hawks of Miami. If you are not at the game, you can always tune in. It'll be broadcast live on ESPN Plus, as well as on the radio, WDKB 94.9, with Andy Garcia and Mark Lindo on the call. I'll be there as well, making my way around the sideline. So it should be a lot of fun this weekend. It's been a lot of fun today on NIU Weekly. Thanks as always to our producer, Kevin Meyer, as well as Jeremy Reed and Mike Huskie, who helped put this show together behind the scenes. That's going to do it for this week's NIU Weekly. We'll be back next week. Until then, Terry Bonadonna, as always, saying, go Huskies.